Arkansas baseball's on the way to Arlington, Texas right now. I'm going to be headed there early tomorrow morning. I won't have Bubba with me, however. Bubba Carpenter is on the hotline right now here on Halftime. We'll be talking with him each Thursday during the baseball season. Bubba, what's going on today? What you got?
How we doing, fellas?
Doing all right. Got a women's basketball game tonight at South Carolina. Really looking forward to this weekend in Arlington, and we're still waiting, unless I missed it in the last 10 minutes, to find out who's going to be pitching the starting pitching on Sunday. Here's the thing I know about this: whomever it is that isn't the starting pitcher on Sunday, out of the four guys we saw last weekend, well, he'll still have a really important role nonetheless.
Absolutely. And, I was talking to Matt Jones about it this morning, and Vital Cheese would have faced Michigan last year because he was with Ohio State last year. So, it might make sense for Gage Wood to be in that spot. And then if you listen to Dave in his press conference, he kind of hinted. He said, well, we'll probably go with the guys that have the most rest. So if that's the case, then that means it's Gackle, Root, and Wood. And Vital Cheese would be the guy in the bullpen. So that's kind of what I'm thinking we're going to do, Phil.
You want to give me an overall impression of what you saw in the 4 games against Washington State? Let's first look at the position players and the hitters. Did anything stand out?
Brent Iredale, obviously, is kind of the guy that I looked at. I was really impressed with him. You and I talked about it on the air. The 2 home runs, Phil, that, was impressive. 2 good swings. One was a fastball inner third. Actually, it was right on the black, pulled his hands inside, hit it really hard to left center. A lot of big guys will hook that ball foul, but one of the bat that I liked the most was he had a runner at third in Game 2 on Friday. We struggled in Game 1 to score runs. Game 2 on Friday, runner at third base, 1 out. He had two strikes on him. Got a fastball in and just hit a ground ball to second. You could tell he made a conscious effort to get on top of the ball, hit it to the right side, and that's an unselfish at bat. And people think I'm crazy. Oh, well, he hit 2 home runs. Yeah, he hit 2 home runs, but the fact that he did that shows what kind of player he is. He's an unselfish player. That goes down as a 4-3 in the book. He gets an RBI for it, but it was just him knowing what it took to get that runner in from third. And as a result, we end up winning, with a big margin that game. But I love that at bat.
Do you have any Australian teammates coming up in the Yankees organization?
Yeah, you know what? I had a right-handed pitcher named Mark Hutton. 6'8", 6'9", something like that. You could probably pull him up. Big right-handed pitcher, threw hard, ended up getting a little bit of big league time. All I remember about him is he threw hard, and he loved Johnny Walker. He drank Johnny Walker.
Well, him and everybody else, right? So it's kind of interesting though, and I haven't gotten to know Iredale yet, but I had some Australian guys on traveler teams that I had, and every last one of them, they were all terrific teammates. Like, everybody on the team loved those guys. I don't know if it's just indicative of where it is they come from, but every Australian ball player that I've been around has been a really great teammate, and Iredale kind of, again, he just seems like he is. I've only talked to him a little bit, but he seems like he may be kind of like that too.
You know what? I loved interviewing him, and it's funny, Phil. Very few times the guys ask me questions. He's at the end of the interview, he's asking me questions, and it usually doesn't happen like that, but he does. He just seems like a great guy and a great team guy. And you get 9 guys out there playing unselfishly. Those kind of teams win championships. And, boy, that's something I know in the past we've been frustrated. We get a runner at third base, 1 out. We get a pop-up, a ground ball, a strikeout, whatever. We end up not getting that runner in. If we can get more guys with that team mentality, get that runner in from third base, whatever it takes. It may not always be pretty. It doesn't look good on your stat sheet sometimes. But the guys that know baseball, the scouts that know baseball, they see that and they appreciate it. And I know DVH does and the staff.
You can also feel, I think I felt it when I was in the dugout for 2 or 3 of the scrimmages in January, and then they played the same way this last weekend. There's an energy with this team. They make noise, they talk. They're chirpy for each other. And I don't know if they were chirpy at the Cougars this last weekend, but and I don't mean this in a way to bash anybody that was on last year's team, because that's not the case. I was impressed with the way they played. They won 20 SEC games, but they were a little quieter. And sometimes we'd wonder who's the leader on this team. And I don't know if we ever really got an answer about it. And I think this team just seems to make a little bit more noise and maybe have a little bit more life.
I'll tell you, Phil, to that point, Reggie Jackson said something to me a long time ago that stuck, and you've heard me say it before, talking about hitting. You said it's okay to be a nice guy, but don't hit like a nice guy. Don't play baseball like a nice guy. When you step out there on the field, you're not a nice guy anymore. And that's what I see in this team. I see a bunch of really good teammates, a bunch of really nice guys. But, boy, when that game starts, they've got a little meanness to them. And that's what I love about this team. And as far as having noise and life, during a couple of scrimmages, you've had a chance to sit down in the dugout, and I have also. And I love the camaraderie between the team, the teammates. And it's just it really does feel different. And last year's team had some really nice guys, but I felt like at times they played nice. But you got to have some toughness to you. When you're playing a game of baseball, especially when you're playing in the best conference in the world, the SEC. And so I think it's going to be a fun season, and I'm really excited about this group of guys.
What do you think is going to happen at the top of the batting order, which correlates also to the very bottom of the batting order? Dave's kind of openly spoke about really liking how Thomas has approached his plate appearances. He got on base a ton in the Washington State series, and it's not that Davallon is not. It's just there's something about Thomas, and I think he could be a real spark plug. But Dave likes that kind of batter in the 9-hole. So I kind of wonder what he's going to do as far as the top and the bottom of the batting order, and also – I think we got into this a little bit on the broadcast, those intricacies of playing center field and left field. You can tell Davallon's still learning center and Thomas is still learning left.
I think so. If I think the one thing over the weekend that was a little troubling was the outfield play. And I know it's going to get better. And look, Von Walker's a tough place to play. We see teams come in here and struggle all the time, Phil. You get that wind blowing from right field across the left, it's a hard place. When a lefty hits a ball, it does some crazy things out there in left center. When a righty hits the ball towards right center, it does some crazy things. So you got to know that as the center fielder. And I think Davallon's still learning that, and I think Justin Thomas is as well. But, if Davallon can't get it done in center, we have a guy over there in left field that can do a job. We can just flip-flop those two. Same with the batting order. Davallon's the guy that's got a little thump in his bat. He could hit in the middle of the lineup, be an RBI guy, or he could hit 9-hole and let Justin Thomas lead off. I mean, Dave's got a lot of options with his team, and it's fun. We talk about the depth of the pitching staff, but, man, the depth of this roster. And you got guys like Kuhio Loy coming off the bench, bringing some thunder in that bat. Hit a couple balls really far this weekend. There's just a lot of different options. And you know what I like is, I don't know if you remember him saying it about Cam Koziel possibly catching. And I think he's serious about that. Having a left-handed batter as a catcher. When I came in, Jimmy Kramers was a really good catcher. Ended up playing in the big leagues with the Braves. I didn't realize that Kramers came in as a third baseman. And they converted him to a catcher. Worked out really well for him. Big left-handed hitting dude, big old strong legs and butt, and that's kind of what you see in Koziel. He's got that lower, real strong in the lower half. He's kind of mean. Plays with a little toughness. He would make a good catcher.
I didn't think about it. You really don't find a lot of left-hand hitting catchers, do you? That's a rarity. Like left-hand catching catchers, that's once a lifetime. Left-hand hitting catcher, you don't see a lot of that either. I hadn't thought about it until you mentioned it.
I tell you, if you're a left-hand hitting catcher, you can play a long time in the big league. either as a starter or a backup. Boy, it's nice to have that left-handed bat coming off the bench that can come in and catch for you. So yeah, if you're a guy that can do that, you can play the game of baseball for a long time.
So all the depth that we bring up, and it looks to me like there's depth of outfielders a lot. There's depth of starting pitching. The ability to close games with maybe 4, 5 different pitchers for this team. I mean, you think of the idea of closer stuff. I think just about everybody on this team has closer stuff. But they have 4 or 5 guys legitimately. Fouch will get the first chance. After that, I mean, I think you'll see Carson Wiggins get chances. I think there could be Will McIntyre occasionally get a chance. Whoever doesn't get whoever is the odd man out in the 3-man starting rotation, whether it's Wood or Beitelcheese, they could get the ball in the 6th inning and just finish the game from there. So I mean, there's so many options of who could get the last out or the last 3 outs or the last 6 outs.
Well, I don't know if you heard Nathan Choate did a podcast, and he's the head coach for Washington State, and he was talking about our pitching staff, and he said he's been coaching 20 years. He's never seen that many starters that good in one series. He said everyone's throwing 95 to 97 with really good off-speed pitches, and they all throw strikes. He said it's just something he's never seen in 20 years of coaching, and most coaches think that, but not a lot of them say it. And so it was neat to hear him say that and kind of give the pitching staff props. But to your point, we have 4 starters that have swing and miss stuff, and we could take any of those 4 starters and put them in the closing situation, and they do a job for us. Now, just so happens we have 2 guys at the back end of the bullpen that are really good at it right now. I mean, Wiggins and Fouch. It's a pretty good combination bagging it back into the bullpen. But if you throw Beitelcheese back there too, he can do any role for you. And I don't know. I think it's just a fun. It's a good thing for a coach to have in Dave Van Horn, but it's tough to make out that lineup. And I mean, there's just so many different options to go with.
First spring training game today, Bubba. You get the Cubs and the Dodgers, and it's also the debut of the automatic ball strike challenge system in spring training. 2 challenges you get. If you're right, then you get it. Then you don't lose that challenge. It's only the pitcher, the batter, or the catcher that can initiate the challenge, and have to do it immediately after the pitch is caught. What do you think about this?
I like that. As opposed to the automated strike zone. I don't want the automated strike zone, but I think this is something good. I've seen it work in the minor leagues when they've done it, so I'm kind of interested to see how they do it and just see how it works. I think it's a great idea. What do you think? You a fan of it?
I think this is a good compromise. I do. Because, hey, let's just face it here. Even if we like the human element, we can all agree there's some egregiously missed ball strike calls that you got to make sure you have a chance to get right. So I think this is it's not splitting the baby necessarily, but it's a good compromise for me.
Well, you got to look at it. Angel Hernandez retired, so that's going to cut down on a lot of the bad calls. So,
is C.B. Buckner still out there, your buddy?
What's that?
Is C.B. Buckner still out there? If anybody out there ever wants to see Bubba's nose get wide and his face all red and he get all flustered, just say the words C.B. Buckner.
Yeah, unfortunately, CB's still around there. If I was still playing today, there'd be a lot of challenges when CB's behind the plate, that's for sure.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your #1 source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your #1 sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here.